Hello. In this video, I want to talk to you about how to boost your joy. Now, I know there may be a lot going on in the world, a lot going on at work, and a lot going on in your life right now. But I believe that even when life around you isn't perfect, you still have the ability to create many moments of joy. Now, the first thing that we need to do when we think about trying to boost our joy is figuring out where in the heck do our emotions come from in the first place. It's not like you can click on a button and order up joy. But it would be cool if you could go to the computer and just order up some confidence, some inner peace, and some joy. But instead of coming from a warehouse, your emotions come from the interplay between your body, mind, and behavior. And I choose these three things because they're all things that you actually have some agency over. Now, to visualize this, I want you to picture a wheel, and in the center of the wheel is your emotions. And on the outside of the wheel is mind, body, and behavior. Now, there's a bi-directional relationship between these things. Your emotions can influence your mind, body, and behavior, and your mind, body, and behavior can affect your emotions. So, you can influence your emotional state by how you think, by what you do, and by how you take care of your body. So, let's first just talk a little bit about body care. Now, our body is a huge source of our emotions, and some of your joy comes from your body. When your body is in a more unpleasant or negative physical state, like hunger, pain, fatigue, or dis-ease, it's more likely that you're going to feel a more negative state and have less joy. But on the flip side, when your body is in a pleasant and healthy state, it's more likely that you'll feel positive emotions like joy and happiness. Now, you've already heard probably tons of times about the role that exercise can potentially play in helping to boost our joy. And part of the reason is that when we move, our brain gets squirted with serotonin, which is a feel good hormone. And so, again, through our body, we can generate feelings of joy. Now, in addition to body care activities like exercise, when we eat a healthy diet, when we get good sleep, when we expose ourselves to nature, that also serves to take care of our body in a way that supports us in feeling more joy. So, again, if you're trying to boost your joy, you could potentially do it through a body care strategy, something that addresses how your body feels so that your emotions feel good as well. Okay, moving from body, let's next go to behavior. Now, this is going to sound so simple that I almost don't want to say it. When you do things that make you joyful, it's more likely that you're going to feel joyful. And when you don't do things that make you joyful, it's more likely that you'll feel less joy. So, again, it's kind of common sense. But thinking back, when I was younger, I was a joy seeking missile. Everything that I was interested in, everything I was passionate about, I just pursued it. I ran track, I played basketball, I was in the French club, I was on the chess team, I sang in a gospel choir, I did yoga and Tai Chi, I learned piano. There were just so many things that I was doing that made me joyful. But when I graduated college and started working, work started taking over my time, and the things that naturally brought me joy took a back seat. And this is something that's so straightforward. I think a lot of adults become less joyful because caregiving and work just naturally pull us away from the things that naturally bring us joy. Now, from a behavior perspective, here's a couple broad categories for things you can do to boost your joy. You can play, you can connect, and you can serve. Okay, so you don't have to do all of those things. Sometimes when you're not feeling enough joy, it's because you're not doing enough play. And play doesn't have to mean running around on the field and kicking a ball. Play or flow is just any activity that you find interesting that is just naturally rewarding and engrossing to you. Play could be reading a good book. Play could be going out to dance. Play could be doing gardening or crafting or whatever it is that you're interested in. But if we want to feel joyful, sometimes we have to make time for the things that bring us joy, and we may need to play a little bit. Now, if we think about some of the other behaviors that we can do to help boost our joy, we have connection. Now, we know that loneliness is a predictor for depression. And now that people are so busy and spread out, it's easier to see how we can become more isolated and lonely in our daily lives. And so sometimes when we're not feeling joyful, it's a sign that we need to spend a little bit more time connecting. And it could be connecting through technology like telephones or computers with our friends and our loved ones, or it could be connecting in person, going for a visit, sitting and having dinner, doing quality activities with the people we care about. All right. So we got play, we got connection, and then we also have service from a behavior perspective. Um, Anytime we are using our strengths in service of something greater than ourselves, we tend to feel really good emotionally. And so if we can find some way to contribute, and it could be a big major cause, it could be something small. It could be thinking about how we support our family and our friends. It could be how we support the environment. Be how we support our school, our neighborhood, our library. It doesn't matter what it is that we're contributing to, but when we are doing service, it just makes us feel good in our hearts. Okay, so you can influence your emotions through your body, you can influence your emotions through your behavior. But I feel probably the biggest thing that influences our emotions is our mind. And if we think about it, optimism and pessimism are ways of thinking. And when we are more negative in our thinking, we're going to create negative emotions. But when we're more positive in our thinking, we're going to create more positive emotions. Now, focus affects our feelings. So, what we focus on affects how we feel. And many of you know that I wrote a book. It's coming out hopefully in February. And in the book, I talk about optimism muscles and pessimism muscles. And I use it to just describe thinking patterns. And what I say is that our mental muscles generate emotions. Pessimism muscles generate negative emotions like anger, depression, and stress. And optimism muscles generate positive emotions like joy, happiness, and peace. And so, if we want to feel more positive emotions like joy and peace, we have to strengthen the mental muscles or our thinking patterns that lead to those emotions. So, how do we get joy through our mind? I'm going to to you about this through the three core optimism muscles. Your three core optimism muscles are gratitude, looking for the good in life, self appreciation, looking for the good in yourself, and appreciation of others, looking for the good in others. Now, if we think about focus, if I focus on what I lack and what I don't have, I'm going to tend to feel less joy. When I focus on what I'm grateful for, I'm going to tend to feel more joy. So, regularly practicing gratitude is a way that we can cultivate joy through our mind. Okay, second optimism muscle, self appreciation. If I focus on my weaknesses, my mistakes, and my past failings, I'm not going to feel a whole lot of joy. On the other end, when I focus on my strengths, on my past successes, and my past wins, I'm going to feel more joyful. So, again, focus affects feeling. And when we focus on positive aspects of ourselves, we will feel more joy. And I know that this is hard, especially because for a lot of people growing up, they were told that pride goeth before the fall and don't be too prideful. And so sometimes we don't want to talk about the good parts of ourselves. But if we hide from the good parts of ourselves, then it's harder for us to develop a positive identity. And so when we think about appreciating ourselves, it doesn't have to be negative and hurtful to other people. It can just be a sincere recognition of our goodness. And again, as you get better at recognizing the good in yourself, you will feel more joy. Okay, last core optimism muscle is appreciation of others, looking for the good in others. So, same thing, focus affects our feeling. If we're focusing on what we don't like about someone, and if we're focusing on their weaknesses and their past mistakes, we're going to feel some tension, anxiety, frustration, and anger in that relationship, the opposite of joy. But if we are looking at a person and we're thinking about their strengths, their abilities, their good deeds, the times that they were there for us, the times that they had our back, the times that we laughed together, then we're going to feel more joy. Now, focusing on the positives doesn't mean that the negatives don't exist. Every person has pros and cons. Every situation has positives and negatives. Every decision has ups and downs. And so it's not a matter of ignoring the negativity or denying the negativity, but when we consciously focus on the positivity, we can create positive emotions like joy. Okay, so some of your joy is in your body, some of your joy is in your behavior, and some of your joy is in your mind. So if you want to boost your joy, you can do it through body care strategies, you can do it through behavioral strategies, and you can also do it through mental or mind strategies. And from a mind perspective, optimism is the key to feeling more joy. I hope that you got some value from this, and I hope that you can find one strategy for yourself that will help you to feel more joy. All right, that's all for now. I'll talk to you later. Until then, be well.